Hi, Dr. Mr. Creative Man Guy here again. Today I'm just going to go through Screenflow tutorial on how I was able to get past an internal error that I was receiving when I was trying to record my my DAW, which I use Reason, and record the audio from that, meaning the music that's going through it, any MIDI that I'm playing, that kind of stuff, as well as my voice at the same time. Every time I was trying to use Screenflow to do that, I kept getting an internal error, which looks like this. So you'd go into your setups for Screenflow and hit record. And then you would receive this error. Due to an internal error, the recording is unexpectedly terminated. So I went through a number of steps to try and figure it out, did the whole Google thing. I found a good tutorial on YouTube on how to set up an aggregate device and how to use a set up Soundflower. And I did that, and that was the closest that I'd gotten to getting it to work, but for some reason my computer does not seem to like Soundflower, so I continued to get the error. So if you are using Screenflow, this is really only applicable if you're using Screenflow, you're trying to record both your voice and digital audio workstation audio from that. You've tried everything else, setting up that Soundflower aggregate device, or I think there's another workaround that was posted that had you deleting files from your computer. That didn't work for me either. And if all those are true and you're still getting the error, maybe this will help. Hopefully it will help. It worked for me. I can't, say that it's going to work for you, but hopefully it will. So after a couple hours of trial and error, this is kind of a maddening thing to have to go through, but I was able to figure it out. So you do have to create an aggregate device, and I'll post a link to that previous video that shows how to do that. I'll show you kind of briefly how to do it here as well. So I'm going to go into Audio MIDI Setup and pull up my audio window. And you see I already have my aggregate device set up here. It's really easy to set up a new one. You just hit click plus down here, create aggregate device, and then you choose what you're going to add to your aggregate device. So I'm going to actually delete this one and just show you how I have mine set up. So in my aggregate device, I have you're going to want to have your built-in output. Oh, the other thing, you need headphones for this if you're going to listen to what you're doing while you're recording. But you'll set up your aggregate device, create that, and then click to have it as your built-in output in the aggregate, as well as your interface in the aggregate. Make sure that each of these has the correct kind of sample rate. You have to go in here, 48. It should be based on your what settings you have on your interface. So my Motu 8 Pre I use at 48K. So based on that, I went into my built-in audio or built-in output and made sure that the that was the sample rate that was showing in there. And you do not want to. You want to make sure that this drift correction. I can't get it open. This drift correction, you shouldn't have these selected, or at least I didn't want them selected. You can still record the audio in my experience with them, but I was getting like clicks and pops when I was recording, so I turned them off, and that seemed to clear up the issues. So once you've got your aggregate set up, you want to make sure that you have your output set as the output in your computer, and your interface set as the input device. So You can do this from here by right-clicking and then choosing, you know, well, you have to go to choose whichever one you want to do 8 pre. You can set, actually, let me back up. You can actually set the 8 your interface or your aggregate device as your input, and it should work either way. But you do have to have the output set as the built-in output. And if you pull up your system preferences, you can do this in there as well. System preferences and sound. These will talk to each other. So if I change this here, it's going to show up over in my audio devices setup and vice versa. So you don't really need to open system preferences if you don't want to, but if you're more comfortable using that, you can. So once you've got your aggregate devices set up in here, you're going to need to make sure that both Screenflow and your digital audio workstation are configured correctly in order to get that the audio to flow through the right way. So because I'm using Screenflow to record this, I had to do a screenshot of the setup, and there's my dopey face. You can what you'll want to do is choose record audio from, and you want to use either your aggregate device or your interface. I think if you have your interface set in your audio setups as the device, you may need to have that selected here as well. But I have it set as aggregate device and it should work. And then you want to also have this record computer audio button or checkbox marked, and you should be able to you should be ready to actually do that in your DAW as well. So I'm going to go into my DAW, Reason, go into your preferences, and you want to choose your audio device. You need it to be the either the aggregate. Oh, actually, no, this one actually does need to be the aggregate in my experience. So once you have that set up as your aggregate device, you have your setups in Screenflow and in the audio MIDI setups. You will hopefully be able to record audio if you were receiving that error before. So that's pretty much it. Oh, just as a demonstration, I can prove to you that you actually do get audio from your DAW. So it works. But at least it worked for me. I hope it works for you. If it does, give me a like, and, you know, thanks. Have a good one.